Jacob Dickey is joining me for today's Ask Your Meteorologist, and we are going to show you an experiment that you can do at home. Welcome back to ciLiving.
Love a good experiment, right? Because you get the kids involved.
Exactly.
Have a little fun, and sometimes when it's a nasty winter day outside, stay inside. We've had some fun, haven't we?
Something to do and something to learn. I feel like you learn so much when you do hands-on. So this experiment that we're going to do today, you can do several different ways.
Yeah, and I don't know much about this. She wouldn't tell me.
I wouldn't tell him because I'm going to put him on the spot with the question that's going to come from this.
So we'll see what happens here in these next 5 minutes.
All right, so there's two ways that you can do this. You can either put food coloring directly into 2 containers of water with a paper towel in between, or what you can do is you can actually color right on the paper towel, and you color on one side up to about here and one side up to about here. So if you follow me on social media, you know that I had started to do this at home, and I made a really pretty rainbow.
Oh, rainbow today. All right.
As with any science experiment, sometimes it doesn't go exactly as you want it to go.
That's
because I used permanent marker, so it didn't do what it was supposed to do. So if you are going to draw a rainbow, you need to use watercolor markers, I learned. But today, for our purposes, we're going to put 2 drops of red in this side, and 2 drops or 3 drops or 5 drops, however many come out of blue.
I'll stir that here.
Stir that side. And then we are going to put the paper towel into both sides.
Interesting.
And the colors will actually meet in the middle. And because this starts off and then kind of stops, I did do a little time lapse over the weekend so you can see how this actually goes along. And while we look at this time lapse, I have a question for you about how rainbows form. So let's take a look at that. Look at this. All right.
Actually, that's really cool.
So if it was a rainbow, it would be slowly meeting in the middle. So Jacob, my question for today is, how do rainbows form, and can you predict them?
Let me look up here real quick. No, I'm kidding. So rainbow, basically all that is you're just taking light and you're putting light through water, and that water droplet is refracting that. So if you think in the evening, the sun's going down in the afternoon, sometimes you catch those rainbows on the horizon. Typically the sun's got to be at a specific angle, and it's got to be behind you. So if you're looking east, a lot of times we see showers and thunderstorms leaving to the east. In the afternoon, as the sun's setting, that's the best chance to get rainbows. Sun's too high when it's up in the sky in the middle of the day. We generally don't see rainbows in that. You got to have it lower in the horizon. We normally see our rainbows also in the evening. Every once in a while, people will send pictures of rainbows in the morning. It's backwards. If the sun is rising in the east, those rainbows are to the west, and they usually don't last as long because that rain gets closer. You have less time when that rain comes and that sun angle is just right there. And even more, if you've never heard of a red rainbow, a red rainbow is typically seen more in those early morning hours than it is in the evening because of the way the light's coming on through. Instead of having all of the colors like those bright, vivid rainbows you see in the sunshine in the summertime, these tend to only have those reds and oranges and maybe faint yellows on them. They're very fascinating. I've only seen pictures of those in the morning hours. And I don't know exactly the precise, I mean, it has to do with that exact angle. It's very specific, but that's a rare rainbow that you can sometimes see in the morning. And I bet you could make that rare red rainbow if you put red in both sides and then let it meet in the middle. And yeah, as you can see, it kind of like comes up a little bit, and I feel like it's maybe... do you know what this reminds me of? What does this remind you of? This reminds me, and you're going to laugh at me, this reminds me of those summer bomb pops that you get with the red. Yes! Doesn't it? Doesn't it? Somebody, please say that. Get a close-up on that. Look at that. It's the red, the red and the blue. And then I don't know what flavor the white is. And then I was going to say, the white is it pineapple or... It might be, and then the blue is the... It definitely feels very summer. Yeah, I know. I looked at that and I was like, that reminds me of a kid having those bomb pops and things like that. This is the other thing it makes me think about too. You talk about how plants take up water. You put carnations in water through coloring. It almost shows that process where this paper towel, the color is coming up into the middle there. Well, think into the center. A plant pulling in that water just like that. That's the other thing it made me think of. And that, you can actually do that experiment this exact same way. All you would do is snip the end of the flowers and put the white carnations into a cup with food coloring, and then usually the petals, or at least the edges of the petals, will suck up that colored water. Carnation's kind of festive this time of year, right? I mean, there's only a holiday that I'm supposed to remember to get my honeyboo, some
some nice flowers for...
blah, whatever. No. But this is pretty fun. This is pretty easy to do. I also want
very easy to do.
If you do this at home, like we want to see pictures. But
we definitely want to see pictures.
You can almost cut your paper towel and then put it in 2 or 3 different on the side. You could have some fun experimenting.
Definitely.
And then does the brand of paper towel make a difference?
Does the brand, and as I learned this weekend when I was trying this on my own, the type of markers that you use also make a difference.
Which you want to use food coloring, it seems, or watercolor paint?
Watercolor markers, watercolor paint.
Marker, yeah.
Watercolor paint, I bet you could put either directly in or maybe paint with watercolors. Try it out at home and let us know sort of what your results are.
Get those kids doing science, because science is fun.
Science is lots of fun.
Yes,
well, thank you so much for being here and teaching us about rainbows. And if you want to try this experiment at home, you can. If you have a question for Jacob, you can email him at jdickey@WCIA.com, and you can tag us in your results on social media.